So we're back up here again. We've got top hat to do. Stood inside loading me gobbo through. Yeah, I'll show you what we've got to work with here today. So we've got about 7.5 metre, about 15 courses stone each side to get up today. There's profiles on. As you can see, it's almost pulling stone over like, but yeah, we've got 1.5 a board to work with, and then we're getting his tubs through here for this side. Then we've got his, can't show you what that is, it's not really a loading bay, but yeah, so if you to free on these, by the way, you just have to make sure your trusses plumb, which I was here when he put roof on, so I made sure he plumbed this up. You measure your stone off your wood, you get a plumb line, so we'll only get so high with this. It's only, we'll have to scrap it down there, same with that. You get to like head height with that. I need to get some bigger ones. Right, I'll get some footage later if I can fit the camera somewhere. So yeah, check out what we got done so far. We've been laying 2 hours. About 10:30. Got laying at half 8. Yeah, so check it out. So that side's up, over halfway, and then got back pointed as well. And just getting this in now. A little technique for the cut-ups when this won't hold on. Just put a bit of wood on. Away you go. So yeah, we got us cuts here. So put us cuts on as we go up, and then a little corbel there. So right. I'll try and get a bit of footage. Don't know where from though. Probably have to get from that side off. I'll make Kai move for a minute. Get some footage.
Hey guys, Harry here. Welcome to another part on the stone garage. Last and final stretch on this big old gable, big old two gable. There's 2 of them. So sorry about that. Ugh. So yeah, you'll see at the end of the video what we get done. I'll not spoil it too much because anyway, you'll see at the end. I'm not going to mention too much. About the build today because we're just laying stone on the profiles to align. We were struggling. We didn't have a loading bay, so we had to load the scaffold up once. You can see this layer German-based scaffolding. I get it goes up quick, but you can't fit all the fucking gear on the scaffold. So we had to fucking load it up into it, especially this stone. We basically almost fucking bent the scaffold with that heavy and how much we had to get up on it. So it was, I think it was 3.5 packs of stone we had. Kai thought it were 4 packs, but I think it was 3 and a bit packs of stone we had. So, because there's normally 5 square metres in a pack, we're getting 40 odd quid a square metre. So you don't use a full 5 square metres in it, so it's like normally 4. So like 4 is 16. It's like 200 quid. Yeah, because this were worth about 600. So we used about 3 packs of 3 packs of stone here. So yeah, I just want to touch a little bit on talking about how to make money on price and gang size, real term. This is like real life, not just that works out ideal on paper, not that works out ideal to the contractor, to the main contractor, not works out ideal to the main house builder, works out the best way for the bricklayer. And this is where I've always been about, I try and give real advice for the bricklayer, which any bricklayer across the country can just pick up, watch, look at and say, fuck me, that's quite good, I'll have a go. So I've been watching numerous bits of content. I watch a bit of A&D. He's the subby, the main, he does his A&D brickwork scaffold. He's like a subby, and he's a supervisor, a part owner or whatever with his, I think there's a few of them, but part owner of his brick subbying firm. And he was giving a little video of how to smash price work, how to do this. And he does various things on his sites. And his sites do look pretty tidy. Pretty tidy. It's a different part of the country, different part of the country than where I work in. but pretty tidy. And he has select sites with the big house builders and whatnot, and he doesn't do footings. He says he just does supers, which is fair enough. And he talks about gang sizes, what he thinks, how he work on price and whatnot. I don't know how long he worked on price as a bricklayer, and I think he's in his 40s, but I could be fucking grossly wrong. People think I'm in my 40s. I've been fucking claimed to, but I'm not. I'm very young. But anyway, no. So basically, I don't know his background when it comes to how long he was on the trowel or whatnot before he took up a management role, but in his company. But he was talking about how to smash price work, and I presume he's coming at it from a senior management perspective when it comes to program and flow of the site, flow of the build and whatnot. But rarely does that ever go to plan when we're talking bricklaying and we're talking weather, and we're talking earning money and rates and whatnot. So I've always worked as a 1-on-1, and sometimes a little bit bigger as like a 1-and-2 or a sort of semi 2-on-1. And I earn good money. Probably double what the average bricklayer earns. But that isn't out of what work I get given. I get given majority bad lifts and bad work to earn money on. But I just have to work. I work in a way, work in a gang size where I make good money, and I work hard and a lot of hours. You know what I mean? And I was just, if I review basically what A&D did, even though his videos get probably similar amount of views to mine, maybe quite a bit more sometimes, but he's sort of making consistent content compared to the other channels, so I don't really have anything to talk about topic wise to the other channels. But I do like his topic, so I'm going to sort of touch on it and give my spin on the bricklayer side of it. So I personally don't think that there should ever be a gang bigger than 3 men. Realistically, if you want to make money on price, and with nowadays, with from my experience with sites, in my experience, the sustainability to make money in any bigger than 3 men is very difficult, and it relies so much on reference from a particular site or a particular site manager, and it requires you to have something what I call being looked after. There's a lot of gangs out there who get looked after and think that being looked after is what being on price is all about. When you get looked after, it means you get the square plots, you get straight lifts, you get on a site with good forklifts, you get preferential treatment from, say, the site agent. And getting looked after isn't real life price work. That's getting looked after. So dependent, and there's and when people start bunging for the forky money, it's just that's sort of preferential treatment. That's sort of not Wild West bricklaying like what I like to call I do. For me out on site, any work you see me doing, I just get chucked on a site out of nowhere. No one fucking knows me, and I build something and I make money on it. So you can't use getting looked after as an example of if a gang works well on price, because I've seen plenty of big gangs who don't get looked after, and plenty of big gangs who go on site on price, default if can't keep them going, and they aim fuck all. There's loads of gangs like that. So this is why. Why Ian, I forgot his fucking name again, because apart from Charlie Collison, who has his name and his channel title, I can't remember half of people's names, but I think his name's Tony. That's where Tony gets it a little bit, because of his sites, and if he's got a big gang, he'll try and look after them, and he presumes that all big gangs will get looked after, and because his sites are probably fairly organised, he'll presume, he'll try to, see and presume that is, the good size, which it is in theory. It is a good size, say 3-in-1 or 4-in-2. In theory, it's a fantastic size, you know, program-wise, but on the ground, on the scaffold, day to day, with weather thrown in, with materials. If, God forbid, you've tendered for a site with Connie bricks, you can't make money as a 3-in-1 or a 4-in-2. You just can't. Not on some of the shit material we've got with either super heavy Connie blocks or Connie bricks or Connie stone, you know. And throwing a bit of bad fucking weather in there, and you just can't cover your money every day. You just can't. With the slowly declining skill, I don't know. This is something that I've heard from secondhand from people. Is there less bricklaying skill down south than there is up north? Is there better bricklayers up north in general? Is there more skilled bricklayers up north than there is down south? Is, as I like to say, is there more gangs with 1 or 2 qualified men and the rest planks, you know, down south? Is that why he's trying to say, why his idea of there should always be a gang leader and not everyone on split? Is that because there isn't the level of skill that there is up north? That could also be something that I'm not taking into consideration. I don't have like a reference of. But normally, you know, I think personally, you know, any more than 2 bricklayers running a gable is a wasted gable. You know, your gable's on a detached the way you make your money. Your backs, you can make a little bit on, and then your fronts are normally where you're not making any as much. So, you know, the idea of an optimal gang size, which a 2-on-1 is ideal. You know, I always sort of grew up, or as a bricklayer, seeing 2 bricklayers on equal split with a labourer that pay 100, from anywhere from 100 all the way up to like fucking 160 a day if they're fucking shit up. If not more sometimes, you know. Sometimes you get even the labourers who'd spread in between, joint up as well. And you'd often see some gangs all working on equal split. Excuse me. So, you know, I saw tons of gangs like that. You know, I used to see father, son, and a bricklayer all on equal split. And, you know, that was 2-on-1, and all on equal split. And they used to work like lightning, get the money in and fuck off, you know. And that was, I don't know how modern bricklaying has changed to what it is now, but that is basically, as bricklayers, what we try and do. We get us money in and we try and fuck off, because at the end of the day, there's no pension, there's no fucking loyalty bonus, there's no fucking holiday pay, you know, no fucking healthcare cover. You know, we have just got to turn up, get his gear from the forky, get his money in and go on, because that's all we can do, you know. It don't matter, you know, it don't matter what, as a gang, what a site agent tells you or how many houses you get through. If that site does not need you anymore, and the work, you know, they stop pulling footings out of the ground, there's no more houses to build, they're all at roof, they're all watertight, that site will fucking say, I ain't got it for you, see you later. You know, they're not going to pay you to sweep your plot out, not going to pay you to fucking come and mill around site. You know, at the end of the day, we're self-employed, and we've just got to try and get us money and go on, because as soon as a site don't need you, that's it, you're done, you're gone, going somewhere else down the road. So, you know, this is why that sort of mentality, you know, this new way of building where there's always someone in, you need a 4-and-2, your gang's always big, working to program right. That, as the bricklayer, just a lot of the time won't work. You know, the forklift driver can't keep big gangs going a lot of the time. With the reduced amount of houses needed to be built on a program now because of the lack of sales, a lot of sites only pay for 140, you know. And I know, as a 1-on-1 now, you know, that, you know, and I've had a bigger gang, and it's just harder to make your money in a bigger gang. And I was, even when the prices were a bit better, you're waiting for gear, there's not always anything towed out in front. That's my main concern, actually, now, with this pushing big gangs, they're pushing big gangs. There's nothing to load out in front. You know, there's a gang will say have 2 plots, but when you're building the other plot isn't available or scaffolded to load out in front. So what is the point of having a 3 and 1? Why not just have 3 brickies all working together? You know, and if one's off, so what? You know. There's another thing also I noted at the end of the video. Tony mentioned, he said, a couple £100 each for the bricklayer, a couple £100 for the bricklayer. So there's, say there's 3 bricklayers' wages to make that 600, 150 for the labourer. Do all bricklayers only earn £200 a day? I know a lot don't earn £200 a day, and fucking a lot earn a lot more than fucking £200 a day, and that will come down also to your gang size. This is where I got into a little bit of it in the last video. At the end of the day, management don't want you earning more than that. See, this is why they're forcing these big gang sizes. £200 a day is great. It's a great wage, but you're bottlenecking what you can earn with the bigger gang sizes. I earn a hell of a lot more than that some days, and some days I struggle to earn that, but I never earn a hell of a lot less than that, and I never, if I sort of said to myself, right, I can never earn 3 times that again, I am now going to bottleneck myself at a maximum of £220 in a day. What would be any point in getting faster, getting more efficient, getting better, And that is what happens when you start upping the men. You start upping the men, you become less efficient, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. This is what I try and say. A 2-on-1, one person at each end of the wall running in with a labourer keeping them going. They move from drop to drop. Labourer has everything laid out. That is optimal. A 1-on-1 like myself is very hard for me to find a labourer or a hog carrier or an apprentice who can keep me going and not stop me putting my trowel down. If I had another bricklaying to that, I definitely know the labourer could keep us going. So this is where it all depends on the individual bricklayer itself, So that is the way I work. I don't stop. So that requires the labourer to be that far in front of me that when he stops for his break, because I'm still carrying on, he has his breaks, they've got to be that far in front. And I'm laying at probably 3 times the speed of your average bricklayer, and I'm not taking a break. I get home and I'm laid on bed like this talking to you guys, but this is where his mentality of like a gang is flawed. I know he's sort of using a broad spectrum, but that is why I'm on here making these videos, so you're not stuck earning your fucking 150 a day or your 180 a day in your big gang. You can aspire to more, and that is why I do these videos. It's to break, and it's to show you, even if you aren't playing as quick as me, how you can just speed yourself up with the method, A lot of the time, the way you do things, it's not how quick I'm laying it. You can see a lot of the time I'm not fucking lobbing them in. I'm just flowing with it. So this is where it can help in all aspects. But yeah, my personal opinion, 2-on-1 is perfect. 3 bricklayers works great, or chipping in, But a lot of the time, it's the material we use. It's the time of year. A lot of the time in winter, a labourer is pretty much, you're better off just working, getting loaded out in front on the fucking cold days and then just smashing it and all chipping and getting the gear on the other days. Another thing what will really put labourers out of a fucking job in the coming years is this more adaptation we're using with tubs. Tubs now can hold tons of gear. Like, I'd really like to see a big gang try use tubs, because you could get fucking hell, especially on these Connie bricks where you'd have to take both gables up at once. You put a couple of guys on one, a couple of guys on the other, fill the fucking tubs up. You you won't be able to keep the gobbo flowing quick enough with how much gobbo the tubs can hold. That's another thing people aren't taking into consideration. You know, no one takes these tubs seriously. I'm using. I just got a new solid forged tile set the other day. You know, people are still fucking about on boards. You know, rolling the gear about like fucking Mr. Whippy Man. You know, this is another thing you'll see in the coming videos. I'm doing a little bit of an adaptation with the tubs as well now, where I'm loading out 9-10 tubs just for myself, and I'm using them up in an hour and a half on my own solo. Never mind if Kai's laying. We're using a tub in an hour and 15 minutes, and that's just with me and an apprentice laying. You know, with the adaptation of how effective tubs are at getting your gear where you need it to be, and a lot of it where you can just continuously lay. So, you know, you're going to be seeing this coming up in the next few videos, but where I'm getting through on my own 4 tubs of mortar in a day, because I'm using these adaptations. I'm really honing this tile setter, really honing this use of tubs, because it's all about getting the volume of the gear where you need it to be, and a lot of it without having to stop laying, or without having to have an extra man, basically an extra wage, just filling them boards up. You don't need that with tubs. You can have that man who would be spending the time filling the boards, doing something else like jointing, spreading, laying, you know. So, but yeah, that's my little take on the price work video of A&D, and just a little bit of price work in general. So yeah, we're going to cut back to the end of the garage now, and we'll see what we got done. But yeah, I hope it helped, and you know, you got a little bit of a little insight, you know, into, you know, my view on price work. Anyway, right, see you at the end of the video.
Right, it's 11:30. We're over halfway done now, so we've got no stone, so we've stood waiting for that. No loading bay, so we have to load it off at Forks. So I've got to stop laying and load out. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, I'm just filming just so you don't see the health and safety hazards about. Yeah. So this is the bit we did about 2 hours ago now. Yeah, we got this done at about 9:45. So about an hour and a half ago. So we're going to give that a nice little brush now, and then load some more stone. There you go. You know, then there's a little corbel, a couple of pieces of stone to put one piece over, then another piece, a couple of little bit of piecing in there. So yeah, about a 10-minute job each corner at the end of the day. So yeah, and, yeah, we're missing an art stone. Well, I hope. Build it and they will come. Right, let's go. So I'm using Kai's phone because it's fucking late. What time are we on, Kai? Is it? Yeah. Just gone 5:30 then. Can't be. Fuck knows. Oh, yeah, check it out. 5:30 we got the cunt up. 4.5 packs of stone, Kai thinks. I think it's 3.5. All pointed. Gotta come back one day and do them pillars. But yeah. Fucking how many courses is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 17 course of fucking stone. Was 15 and 3 coins. So yeah, right, I'll see you at home for the outro. So yeah, that was a pretty decent length video, I hope anyway. So yeah, that garage building total, we started it, we were out of stone once on there, and then Gobbo like pissed some days. But all in all, we had a couple hours on it one day, and then we had an early finish, so I'll call it a day for that first clip. Quite a day for that first clip. So yeah, a day for that first clip I had with Ed Camp. Then we went back and we did about half a day on it to get it sort of scaffold out, but then they decided then we decided was to get it to pan, so then we spent another day getting it all the way up to pan. It was proper slow. We're only putting 4 course all the way around, 5 course in some places, and it just took fucking ages. So it's alright, I think, trestling it and that, but we weren't really trestles, we just stood on a fucking block. So hop up to get to pan, and then it's taken us there? Fucking day. Then we spent like half a day, sort of, not even half a day, but I'll call it half a day for the sake of it, getting it fucking loaded up, because we had no loading bay on it. I'd take out blocks and old stone and fucking gobbo, so I'd go, forklift driver had to hold it up basically. But yeah, so that were fucking annoying, and then we had to reach to the fucking stars to get it finished. But so yeah, all in all, 3 days for garage. Well, 2.5 days for garage and a day and a half at top out, call it. So it's just fucking, fucking alright. It's alright for what it's worth. I think that garage was worth, with the top out, 2,800. So 4 days, it's all, it's a good, you're going to earn plenty of money, because I've left about 100 quid on for garage pillars to go back and do them at some point. So that's 2.7. So what's that? This is sort of best case. I think this is best earner I've had. I think best garage earner I've had. So it's a 4-day garage from damp to fucking top of fucking top out, top of truss. 2.7. That's divided by 4 days. Kai's wages off that. You're looking at 500 quid a day I've earned there. But that's best case scenario. Fucking worst case, I fucking earn about 200 quid, 250. That's one of my worst days. So you can see the variation. You can go from earning 100% of your day rate, 250 call it. Maybe it's sometimes less, sometimes 200. Then you can earn fucking 200% of your day rate, so that's double. And then that's best case, you know what I mean? I know Charlie Collison earns fucking £1,000 a day or whatever he can earn in his super pace. But just fucking you can't do it. You can't do it all the time. That's like best case scenario earner. The only thing I've earned better on, that's probably best earner. Best earner I've fucking. There is better earners out there, but people there's out there, but fucking there's firms in down where I live paying 550, 600. I'm working at 600 a thou a lot of the time. You got to lay 1,000 bricks for 600 quid, so you're not going to lay 1,000 every day. 1,000's going to be on a good day because of just the standard they want. Silo, ready mix, bricks are shit most of the time. They're either wet or the concrete. You try chuck 1,000 connies in it, ain't fucking easy. It's fucking hard graft, and that's like I say. You're as good if you can get garages built in a few days with a one-on-one or on your own, like I do. It's as good as being on a house, because how the cavities are now slowing you down that much with open cavity. And then just the standards are unbelievable now. People, you hear these Gen X baby boomers and all that, fucking people who are my parents' age. My parents are like 60. And they're saying, these new builds, they throw them up, this and that. At the moment, new builds are as fucking neat as they've ever been. And they have been as neat for the last couple of years. There's an odd one that slips through, but when a site's putting 50 to 70 houses a year up, there's going to be like 2 or 3 or 4 that are going to be rough. It's just and they're going to slip through the cracks, and that's what you're seeing at these, the fucking patching for, they call them professional snaggers. There's no fucking such thing. You can get a fucking bloke at a lamppost to go around, bloke at a fucking bus stop to go around an house, and they'll find something wrong with it, with a fucking 6 foot level. Fucking hell. It's just, fucking snaggers when I started. Snaggers were fucking old guys on fucking 70 quid a shift, going around doing a bit of patching. There weren't fucking no such thing as professional snaggers. it's just got fucking daft. They know they've cornered the market. You've got a shit ton of 30 to 40 year olds buying the first house because we've had successive governments fucking fuck the economy for, you know, however many fucking years. We've got a general election coming up. I won't get into my fucking views on it because most people are just fucking daft. And I swear most people want to see this country burn. You know what I mean? The UK is a fucking fantastic place. Versatile weather, fucking strong culture, you know what I mean? Fucking lovely fucking lovely landscapes and fucking, you know. So I love England, I love Britain, you know, I love being British. But there is people who want to see this. There's a fucking lot of people want to see this country burn. So, you know, you'll see if you've looked at my Instagram, you know who I'm voting for this year, and I've voted for similar parties ever since I've been able to vote. So what's that been, 20, you know, fucking 11, 12 years or whatever. I don't know when you can vote now. Fuck knows. The thing is that there's too many people who will fucking, you know, they'll criticise the government or whatever, and then they won't vote. So you've got to vote, because at the end of the day, you might as well just live in a fucking communist dictatorship if you're not going to vote, because they take your vote away, basically. So yeah. You've got to vote. That's all, you know, that's my motto on it. I'm anti-establishment, really, but you've got to vote, because if you don't vote, you might as well just live in a totalitarian regime, you know. So anyway, I'm not going to get into it, because, anyway, a working man, and that's, you know, at the end of the day, there's too many jobs now taken by people who haven't been born in this country, or come into this country, and there's just not enough jobs for the youth. We're not encouraging the youth enough to get these jobs. And the thing is, people come from foreign countries, immigrants, whatever you want to call them, you know, asylum seekers, whatever, and they'll work for a third of what, you know, a third of what English people will fucking work for. And the point of the matter is, fucking good on them for coming over. I'd do the same if I was dealt that fucking hand. If I were born in a third world country, or if I were born in a second world country, I'd do the same. But the point of the matter is, fucking, if there's a fucking 750,000 or 1 million, I don't even know how many people are coming over, 1 million immigrants a year coming into this country, and we're a tiny fucking island. How many jobs is that taking away? Even if 1% of them, which would be fucking 1% would be fucking 10,000. Even if 10,000 of them take away, you know, semi-skilled or low-skilled jobs, that fucking your fucking kids. It's made because my viewer base is 40 to 50 to 60. That's the median sort of viewer base. So your kids who you're watching now, your kids are in the like 20s and 30s, or maybe early 20s and teens. They're losing work, they're losing job opportunities to people who haven't been born in the UK. And unfortunately, it's the way of the world. We are lucky enough, you know, majority of people, you know, we are lucky enough to be born in Britain, one of the biggest thriving economies in the world, you know, compared to the landmass we live on. And the work's been taken away, you know, like, the reason Amazon delivery drivers are earning what they earn is because there's fucking that many of them, and there's that many willing to work for fuck all. That's why if there weren't so many Amazon delivery drivers and so many Just Eat delivery drivers, people who deliver Just Eat would be earning a lot more money. This is my point. I work in a sort of narrow skilled industry. There's a lack of skill in fucking bricklaying. So at least bricklayers have the median age of probably, like, the average bricklayer is 50 now, something like that. But I work in a trade which is lacking a lot of skill. But fucking loads of jobs. If we didn't have the high levels of immigration we've had for the past 20 years, fucking loads of jobs would be fucking sorted. People would want to come to this country because we pay super money to like loads of jobs, but we don't. We just pay it to like very narrow, specialised fields. So, you know, it's only fucking up your children and your children's children in the fucking future. Anyway, I'm going to stop ranting now. It's been 7 minutes. So yeah, anyway, that's my little piece, and if you agree, you agree. If you don't agree, well, it's been going on like this for fucking 30 odd years anyway, so, you know, you've only got fucking, you just have to look at history. Look at the history of the country and just see where it's come from and where it is now. You know, fucking hell. Hold on a minute. The average house price, fucking 30, the average house price 30 or 40 years ago or something, these aren't fucking solid figures, but it's just something I watched, was like, you know, average house price was 4 times your yearly salary. Now it's something like 8 or 10 times, or fucking 12 times or something stupid. So basically these aren't solid facts, but they're fucking in the ballpark, near in the ballpark. So now people can't buy an house till like 35, 40, especially down south, especially in fucking, you know, fucking Bricklaying Worldwide and Charlie Collison land and Tricky Bricky down south. It's fucking nuts. It is absolutely fucking nuts. So what hope is there for the future if we just stick to this? And people say, I had an argument with some crust. I call them crusts because that's mainly what you see in the building trade these days. Tons of old blokes at retirement age. And I always say, you know, what we get are £8 to build an house, just in labour. Then there's the materials on that. Don't know how much they cost, but, you know, let's say, even say it was 16 grand in material. You're on fucking 25, you know, 25 grand ish. Then you've got all the rest of the materials and labour for the other trades. Yeah, I don't know, fucking hell. Might be fucking 70 grand. I don't know. I'm not a QS. I don't fucking price the fucking house build up. You got the land. Just house prices. The land price. The price on land is so expensive because there's fucking not that much of it. And fucking materials are fucking importing everything. And then the companies are wanting to make a certain markup on these houses. You know. Fucking profits are going through the roof at the moment for these house builders since they dropped our prices. So it's just fucking, these are why the house prices are so high. It's the land cost of the foundations. But all I know is we're not building the houses for very much fucking less, for very much more than we were fucking I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. But yet the house prices are fucking a lot higher. They're a lot higher. Say an house build price has gone up by fucking £3 grand. The house price has gone up by fucking 60 or 70 grand, 80 grand. You know, someone's making a fucking killing. It's not us. And it's not the fucking future. It's not my generation, the fucking generation after mine, and generation before mine. It's affecting us in the fucking people in the fucking 20s, the 30s and the 40s. Cost of living's fucking everyone. I know how hard it is because I know how much I earn. I know how much there's left in my bank at the end of fucking week. Not fucking much. And I fucking run an house solely on my income. I run a fucking new build house. I bought it for 130,000, worth about 170 now. And I pay everything. I've run 2 cars and it's fucking dear. It's fucking dear and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be for someone who earns what I earn. So yeah. Anyway. Right. Rant over. Make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. 4th of July I think it is. Could be wrong about that as well. 4th of July. Make sure you vote. Right. See you next video. So this is the end of the garage build. I had to come back and do pillars as usual because you can't build them at the same time. You end up not fucking pushing gable over. So yeah, I've come back, put the stones in, fucking a bit pointing, the garage out, put pillars up, 40 blocks, 40 odd blocks, put in. I lost my £700 on it, so maybe 70, I can't remember now. But yeah, check it out. Here's a little picture of it when it's a little doodah of it when it's all finished. These jet washers, the stones below catch the gobbo you use above, unfortunately. And I don't know about you, I don't want to go fucking wire brush the garage off 4 times. So this is a little bit of, there you go. Fucking looks lovely, to be fair. Fucking happy with that. There's a couple of fucking joints that need pointing, but I'll be back another day, because I've got to go and patch. I've got to go and patch that fucker, I think. And I've got some patching and whatnot. Little corbels on the corner. You know, nice 4-day garage. Again, we're at a 4-day garage, something like that. 4-day garage. Another more. 4.5 fucking day at this rate. I've been here since 3, so I've been here fucking almost 3.5 hours. So it's like an hour a pillar. So yeah. Right. See you in a bit.